Thank you again for coming. And we have a brilliant group of people, and I do hope maybe some more organizations will show up in a few minutes. And my name is Oleksandra, and most of you have already met me while during the interview. And today my idea is to present and discuss first results of the small project mapping sustainability initiatives on Gotland. And what kind of agenda we have for this hour? We will do now some introduction round because it's very interesting for you to know each other better if you don't know each other. And then we will have quite brief research presentation for us to have the possibility to talk to each other as well, because I regard this a big value for participants to know about each other and your sustainability initiatives and to discuss it. So that is why we will have to break out rooms, group work, and then we will come together again for some closing remarks. I want to say that this short-term research, it was a beautiful journey to Gotland, and I'm really admired with the community we have here on island and initiatives we have here on island, and these like beautiful things all of you are doing to make it sustainable. So let's start this small journey together. The goals of this research were to try to map ongoing sustainability-based initiatives on Gotland and to talk with different stakeholders, non-profitable organizations, governmental representatives, associations, individual initiatives. And also I tried to analyze what kind of challenges and what kind of perspectives these initiatives have and how do they collaborate with University Campus Gotland. And I have formed a sustainability initiatives database, and it's a table, and I will tell a bit more about this table later when I present my results. And we have a project webpage, and this table can be downloadable from this project webpage. And I encourage you, if you find it relevant, to download it for your own use, because it's only open data based table. And this research is supported by the BV Society and hosted by SWEDESD, Center for Education for Sustainable Development. So the research design foreseen what have been actually done, around 30 in-depth interviews with the representatives of Campus Gotland study programs and the different sustainability initiatives on Gotland. And that was done in the time period of September-November 2020. And also I have done in the meanwhile some literature review related to university campus outreach and collaboration-based cases between university campus and local community. And I was forming a database of sustainability initiatives on Gotland. This database is like available at the Campus Gotland University website, and we will talk a bit later about that. And since I had some time constraints and a lot of interviews, I will do more case study analysis in the coming month. And whom I was asking during this research? First of all, it was Campus Gotland academic staff, and there were some Gotland stakeholders. And in Campus Gotland, I was talking with bachelor's program in community planning, with natural resource and sustainable development research program, with bachelor program in environmental science representative Karin, with master program in sustainable destination development, cultural heritage and sustainability, sustainable management, game design, wind power engineering, archaeology. I was talking with GHOST representatives and also about sustainability initiatives of administration department. And in Gotland, on Gotland, I was talking with Region Gotland representatives, with County Board Administration representatives, with Hållbara Gotland, Product Gotland, Tillväxt, Science Park, Gotland's Hem, Association of Construction Companies, Söderbyn Eco-Village, Swedish Angles Association, Blue Center, Red Cross Energy Centrum, Political Party Feministic Initiative, Coop Visby, Cementa Out project, Kulturum project. What I was asking external stakeholders, I had two bunches of questions. First was related to sustainability related initiative represented by the respondent. And second bunch of questions was related to collaboration of this initiative with Uppsala University Campus Gotland. So first part of questions was including what your initiative or project is about, why have you started that? Do you know other initiatives and do you collaborate with them? And how do you communicate your initiative to others? What kind of communication channels do you use? What are barriers to move things forward with your initiative? And the sort of general question, what are the most urgent issues to ensure a good life for future generations on Gotland? What is like most crucial we tackle with, and how your initiative contributes to that? And with Campus Gotland related questions, I was asking if the initiative is collaborating with Campus, and if yes, then how? And who initiated the collaboration initially? And if you're satisfied with this collaboration and what is missing? And I also asked respondents to describe the ideal collaboration with Campus Gotland, if any. And based on open source data from the internet, from your websites and Facebook pages, and a bit from your interviews, I have composed a sustainability initiatives database. It's an Excel file, Excel table, and it is available at the SWEDESD web page. And this database contains two spreadsheets, organizations and projects. I have included 25 plus more non-interviewed organizations and 14 multi-stakeholder projects in this database. And I physically didn't have time to interview all of them, but maybe I will be able to do it later. And this table contains the name of organization or project title, the web or Facebook official page of this initiative or organization, some contact person details that are also available online, so it's an open data, and short description of organization and sustainability initiatives it has, and the sustainable development related field this organization or initiative has. And just a few words about research limitations. So this database is openly available because it contains only openly open source data. And the descriptions, short descriptions of these initiatives you can see in this database. It's a formal position stated by organizations on their websites. So it can be like questionable, it can be discussable. There are different opinions about if those some of those initiatives are really sustainable, but it is like formal data. And that is why we present it, because it was formalized like that by organizations. Also, another limitation I had, it's like really short time for more comprehensive qualitative case study analysis, because I have done 30 interviews in 3 months, and I have 30 hours of recordings that I need also to process more in depth. That is why I will need it at the next stage of the research. And also there is some like a bit weird mixture between organizations and projects, because some organizations, they could be defined as projects as well, like Blue Center that was initiated as a project and now it is an organization. So this division, it's like relative and you shouldn't criticize it much. And also some big projects, as you probably know, they contain lots of smaller projects. And these smaller projects, they were not described in this study. For example, Leader Good project, it contains a lot of small community-based initiatives related to sustainability. And I also haven't had like physically opportunity to describe them all, but I know that they exist, and most probably I will add them later on. And now I wanted to show you the idea of mapping. Why I have, as a result, the first result, an Excel table, but not a map. Here you can see the report of County Board of 2018 with a list of only some projects related to climate and energy, and we have now more of them. And you can see some logos of organizations and initiatives and projects of different size, different form of like organizations that are related to energy issues on Gotland. And that's really, really hard to try to map all these things and to visualize all interconnections these projects and organizations have in one map. And what is interesting that we have such a map for climate and energy projects. And if to return to the one of definitions, what is community sustainability initiative mapping by itself? So it is stated that community mapping is a local mapping produced collaboratively by local people and often incorporating alternative local knowledge. And the very great example of such community mapping is the map that is hosted by the county board Länsstyrelsen related to energy and climate projects. It's an interactive map. I'm sure like the most of you know about and aware about this map. And it was really community-based mapping because a lot of organizations were involved in the idea of creation of this map. And most probably some of you, like Patrick and Energy Centrum, will get this mission to continue this mapping related to energy and climate. But the question is, why don't we have such maps for water-related issues? Why don't we have such maps related to cultural sustainability-related initiatives, education-related initiatives? So that's a really big room, and possibly we as a Gotland, as a unique community, should have more such interactive maps based on community efforts, but not based on efforts of like some separate researchers. And just quick general observations based on interviews. So on Gotland, we have quite a bunch of topics covered in terms of make it more sustainable. We have energy-related projects like Lidergute. We have educational projects based on Polymskolan, for example, that have sustainability curricula. We have water protection projects like Roda Valiviken. We have sustainable agriculture projects and initiatives initiated, for example, by Product Gotland Association. We have natural ecosystem restorations projects, for example, that run Sports Fiskarna region, and with reintroducing and restoration of some fish. We have cultural projects of Kulturum, for example. We have social support projects initiated by Red Cross, consultancy and business support of sustainability that provides by Tillväxt Gotland or Hållbara Gotland. And we have sustainable community, lots of small projects, for example, represented by Utvecklingsbolag Association Gubis. And in terms of scale, we have on Gotland really fair balance between small community-based initiatives and big multi-stakeholder projects that involve a lot of financing, EU financing, and where businesses, associations, and private persons are interacting and involving some research on a regional scale. And in terms of amount, we have a lot of them, and around 50 up to 100, I would say, of those projects and initiatives that are directly related to sustainability in its classical definition with a direct external influential power. So those projects that try to solve some systemic sustainability related projects on Gotland. And we have different forms of these initiatives. We have networks of experience sharing, for example, Sustainable Transport Project. You have the network of transport companies and you try to share experience around them. We have innovation hubs like Science Park Gotland that raises some startups local. We have educational centers like Phenomenal and Science Center that have the beautiful project about sustainable development goals. We have research centers, and Blue Center is a very good example of such research center, interdisciplinary but related to water issues. We have technologies and construction-based initiatives. For example, Association of Building Restorations, they use only sustainable materials in their work of building restorations. We have activism, Fridays for Future, for example, or Soderbinica Village. And we have associations of different companies, for example, Wind Power Association. And in terms of answering questions, I asked organizations about external communication and collaboration. And here we have, there are few insights about that. First insight is that on Gotland, communication channels that are informal and non-public, they really have a big power, and they're very, very popular. So word of mouth, some mailing lists to networks, some closed events and meetings, they are very popular form of communication, not involving like other participants, but rather member-based things. At the same time, we have very complex collaboration networks. And it's really amazing on Gotland, this combination of really different stakeholders trying to make things together. And the majority of initiatives, they try to use standard external communication channels. We have a lot of web pages, social networks, local media, some things. But the main thing here is that we have, as a result, lots of separated information related to different fields. And somehow when you try to understand what is going on, for example, in water field or energy related field, you need to really make a big web search to understand that. Okay, for energy, it is not so relevant because we have the map now, but it is also not like very updated, and maybe it should be updated more. But for the other fields, it's like that. And what kind of implementation challenges organizations have pointed out? First of all, it's lack of time. A lot of organizations are claiming that they have day-to-day operations, and some business companies, they need to earn money simply, and they have this sustainability mission. But this mission, it really requires some additional time, and sometimes these time constraints are very crucial to run things forward. And the same is related to high workload, as I already described. And some associations are claiming that there is a low engagement of members of associations, so they are not very aware about sustainability just because of also time constraints and high workload, and maybe like this awareness that is pointed out in this list and commitment of target audience is a problem for those who try to push sustainability initiatives. What was also interesting that quite a lot of organizations are claiming about lack of qualified employees to run things forward. And we will talk about that a bit later as well. And some of them, they are missing research, and they're missing research funding. And that is a question related to university. And we will mention that later as well. What is interesting, the answers about Gotland sustainability threats. What are the most urgent things that should be solved on Gotland now to have our future generations a decent life? So almost everybody claimed that Gotland should be more self-sufficient. Self-sufficient in terms of energy, in terms of water and food production. And actually water deficiency related to limestone industry was pointed out almost for all respondents as a main issue, together with energy production and storage. How to produce more renewables, how to redistribute energy, how to store it, how to tackle all regulation related issues around energy. And quite a lot of respondents were mentioning also self-sufficiency in terms of energy related to the cable to the mainland to have the stable electricity support. Next issue was public and any issue related to transportation and car usage. I was impressed with the fact provided by Sustainable Transport Project that we have a quite weak behavior connected to transport, and 1/4, 25% of citizens, they take cars on Gotland for distances less than 5 kilometers. And public transportation system should be renovated as respondents claim. And then the interesting issue is about demographic situation. Quite a lot of respondents say that we need to engage more young people on Gotland and more qualified staff. And some associations, they claim that our companies are worried that quite a lot of experts, they are on the retiring age now. And we are worried that in next years, we will not be able to replace them with new experts and some youngsters. So this problem is related to the problem of lack of qualified employees stated in the previous column. And then the interesting insight also was about Gotlandic dichotomy. Gotland is very interesting in terms of these differences, seasonal differences related to tourism, when we have totally different picture in summer and in winter on Gotland. And not now with this COVID, but in general. And we have some tensions between urban and rural areas. And we have some tensions and some issues related to the fact that we are on island, and we have some tensions related to the mainland as well. Also, some people were talking about problems related to military presence. For example, Sudarbinika village, they cannot make new buildings on their own territory, on land, because the military is just opposite their road. And quite a lot of people were mentioning climate change as well. Now we will quickly talk about the Campus Gotland outreach, and we will talk about Campus Gotland communication with external stakeholders. So there is a beautiful German methodology about university campus as a living lab for sustainability, and last year it was published as a handbook, and it provides different scales of university campus outreach, from small student projects to the global projects related to global sustainability threats solutions. And what do we have on Campus Gotland in this regard? We have a beautiful organization, GOST, and I'm happy to see some representatives of it here today as well. The GOST is abbreviation, Gotland Headquarters of Sustainable Thinkers. And this organization has some projects related to sustainable campus, but these students are also thinking how to make Gotland sustainable, and they already approached some of your organizations, as far as I know. And we have at the next level of building and services operations related to sustainability, we have a Sustainable Campus Gotland program. And for those of you who don't know, we have a mind map also published at the university webpage that contains huge amount of different initiatives and ideas how to make campus sustainable. And later I will send you this link to the chat for your curiosity. You can come and see how many initiatives are mentioned there. And I know that administration department, they are now negotiating with buildings landlord and other organizations how to make different systemic projects, for example, to change the lighting in the campus to automatic one, sensor based, and how to change the water faucets and other projects. And then to the next level of involving some external stakeholders, we have beautiful multi-stakeholder projects, for example, Blue Center or Science Park Gotland, that were based initially at the university, and now they are running, involving different source of funding and different partners. And if to come to the global outreach, we have a formal agreement with Region Gotland about the cooperation, and we have quite a lot of projects based at the county administrative board as well. That's very good. And but what kind of forms of collaboration do we have between campus and local organizations? And what are internal challenges mentioned by campus academic staff related to this collaboration? So we have pretty much standard forms of collaboration like guest lectures. Almost all study programs, not almost, but all study programs use this form of collaboration because it's easy. It's like short time, not time consuming, not energy consuming, and very beneficial for both parties. We have quite a lot of study visits and field work that is obligatory, for example, for archaeology program. We have quite a lot of examples of internships and even hiring them. For example, county administrative board. I know that you have some students hired after a successful internship. We have quite a lot of student thesis and project work based on Gotlandic cases, especially in the field of energy under the Energy Transformation Research Project. And we have research and participation in multi-stakeholder projects, as I already mentioned. And quite a lot of representatives of Gotland, Campus Gotland, they are included in different various reference groups and board, and they are acting as board members at the local associations and organizations. And we have quite a lot of informal sustainability related initiatives. For example, we have food rescue student project based at Coop. We have scouts that involve students to be international leaders for their scouting groups. And these informal things, these connections, they can in future probably become more formal. And but we have quite a lot of challenges related to the Campus Gotland outreach at the same time. For example, its language issue was articulated by respondents because simply some international students, they are struggling with local internships because they do not know Swedish. Then it's like lack of time to arrange a cooperation. Again, teachers and study program representatives, they are busy with day-to-day teaching and some bureaucratic things, and it's really hard for them to allocate time to arrange new cooperations. Because at the same time, some departments, they are lacking like staff and they need more people on board. And it was interesting that at least two study programs, they were mentioning that administrative county board cooperation sometimes is not financially affordable for them. That's something to think about together. And also internal challenges are that students, sometimes they're not interested in local cases. And that's an interesting question, and we should think how to make students more interested in solving local questions, not making their master thesis and thesis work abroad, so to say. And also language issue, but in terms of academic versus business language issue. It is sometimes hard to arrange a cooperation with some partner business companies because of this like academic prof orientational language. And a few citations about how local organizations, how you external stakeholders perceive Campus Gotland and collaboration, and what kind of collaboration challenges have you articulated? So it is hard to get in your world. We speak different languages. We are different worlds, academic and business. Campus Gotland is pretty new thing on Gotland. And maybe it is our Gotlandic mindset. But in general, it is interesting that since Uppsala University came in 2013, since then we have quite a years passed by, but it is still a new thing for Gotlandic community. Small enterprises, they need more consultancy rather than fundamental research. For example, one organization claimed that EVL provides us with more practically oriented research, and Campus Gotland is not. I do not visit Campus Gotland website often, so it would be nice to receive invitations to Campus Gotland events. We approached and asked the administration to be more engaged, but it takes years to set it up. We tried to reach students, but it didn't work out. We do not know how to reach them. And I feel excluded after trying to reach Campus Gotland. It is very closed. We had short talks, but without any further collaboration. So what are like key needs and requests articulated based on these like challenges? So external stakeholders, they want campus to have the meaningful research for them and make it more effective in external communication, more open discussions, to have some recurring meetings, like here was the proposal every second month to update each other and provide expertise support. We want to study from Campus Gotland related to our field. We want more systemic collaboration, combining theory and practice. And we want more student theses based on local businesses. And we want to have more research on board. And if you remember, we had this challenge articulated that we need more research funding in the previous slides. We could have had more structured and systemic collaboration with Campus Gotland, but due to specificity of Uppsala University structure, that Uppsala University is in Uppsala and Campus Gotland is part of it, it is hard to arrange the cooperation. We are busy and our board work is voluntary. That was one respondent of board member of one association. And she told that like, I'm busy with my day-to-day operations and my board work is voluntary. And that is why I would love to cooperate with Campus Gotland, but I want Campus Gotland to take a lead in this collaboration. And another lady said that Campus Gotland has many interesting initiatives, but they could inform us better. And also there was a request that I learned from students and like to come to Campus Gotland. We are open to get more science in our work and get international perspective and knowledge to compare what we have locally. So some international perspectives could be also nice to have. So if to summarize, there are requests to have more structured and systemic collaboration. And there are claims to Campus Gotland to be more proactive in outreach. And the local community want Campus Gotland to be proactive in external communication as well. And more applicable, more practically oriented research is needed. And local organizations need more student work and more hands-on projects with local Campus Gotland students. That's students for you to know. So some main conclusions, and then we will have a bit of time, I do hope, for you to know more about each other. Common language and communication, that's a key issue that is needed on Gotland related to sustainability initiatives. Like somebody claimed, it is a unique place where we can bring people together, and energy climate related projects are great, but it is not enough. Maybe we should have this platform and mapping related to water, to culture, to transport, the same as we have for energy and climate. Similar views on the local problems and challenges, that is very particular for Gotland. We have a nice community and people really think the same about what kind of problems do we have on island. A lot of tight and complex societal connections we have on Gotland, and that it makes unique, and we have a big potential to make it even better and forefront in sustainability in Sweden. Non-formal closed communication channels are very popular. Maybe it is a Swedish cultural thing, maybe it is Gotlandic cultural thing. Maybe I should consult more about that with our anthropologists, but it is like it is from this short-term observation I have. And we have high local commitment here on Gotland, but sort of moderate openness to newcomers like Campus Gotland. And in general, we have a really big potential with unique combination of natural, man-made and human resources. And you are part of this process. And this was really exciting, a very short journey, first step to that. But I really thank you for you being like you are and doing what are you doing. So now we have still like 10-15 minutes, and maybe if you feel a bit to make it longer than 1 hour, then we will have a bit more time. And I ask those of you who have like first like quick questions, you can ask now like 3 questions, and then we will go to breakout rooms where you will be able to look what kind of 3 most crucial needs your initiatives have, and then you can discuss whether you have the same needs and maybe you can help each other in achieving these needs. And students, I encourage you also to be active observers about organizations talking to each other about their needs, and you can just figure out what is your possible help and role in this process. So, and just thank you for attention right now.